Sir Davos. Lord Snow.
King Snow, isn't it? No, that doesn't sound right. King John?
It doesn't matter.
Forgive me, but may I ask a question?
Of course.
Your name is Jon Snow, but your father's name was Ned Stark.
I'm a bastard. My mother and father weren't married.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about one of the biggest secrets in the Seven Kingdoms. And when this gets revealed in the television show, it's going to be an absolute bombshell that is going to completely change everything. I know some of you aren't going to believe this, but trust me, this is going to happen this season without a doubt. And for those of you that have been following my channel for a very long time, you already know how accurate the leaks are that I have been reporting on for over the past 9 months. All the information in this video comes from the same person who leaked all the previous information about each episode this season, and I have read it all, and so far it has been surprisingly 100% accurate. But I will still let all of you be the judge. We will find out if any of this is true or not in a few days when episode 5 airs. There will be a few massive spoilers in this video, so make sure you proceed with caution. Let's begin. I will give a brief backstory on the theory first, because there were a few people that commented on my last video that didn't know what I meant when I said R plus L equals J. Some people that watch these videos aren't as familiar with everything that some of us are, so I won't assume everyone has watched and read everything 100 times like we have, but I'm going to try and make this quick. I will put a little clock on the screen right now just in case you want to skip the backstory and just get straight to the leak. One of the biggest secrets in this story and television show revolve around who Jon Snow's true parents actually are, and still till this day this is a hot debate. But when it comes to the characters in this story and show, pretty much everyone that knows Jon Snow just assumes he is Ned Stark's bastard son, because Ned had brought back a baby from the war claiming it was his child, but he would never tell anyone who Jon's mother was. He wouldn't even tell his wife or best friend who was the king. The reason being was because Ned knew if Robert ever found out who Jon's real parents were, he would have had Jon killed immediately. Robert Baratheon was madly in love with Ned Stark's sister, Lyanna Stark. And in fact, Lyanna Stark was actually betrothed to Robert Baratheon, meaning they were supposed to get married. But Lyanna Stark was never in love with Robert Baratheon. She ended up falling in love with another man, and this led to Robert's rebellion and the birth of Jon Snow. One of the most famous stories in Westeros is what happened during the tourney of Harrenhal. There was a huge jousting tournament and nearly everyone was there. It might as well have been a red carpet event because anyone who was rich and powerful and famous was there. The Mad King was there and his son Rhaegar Targaryen was there. Rhaegar Targaryen was actually competing in this tourney and he even won. And when it was over, he was given blue winter roses, and he was to crown the most beautiful woman that was there in attendance. Rhaegar's wife, Elia Martell, was there, so everyone assumed Rhaegar would give the roses to her, but he actually rode right past her and laid the roses in Lyanna's lap instead. And this shocked the crowd because they were sure he would give them to his wife, but he had his eyes set on a Stark, Lyanna Stark. Some time had passed since the tournament, and Rhaegar and Lyanna actually ended up going missing, and everyone assumed Rhaegar must have kidnapped Ned Stark's sister and was holding her somewhere against her will. That's when Ned Stark, Hallan Reed, and a few other bannermen actually tracked them down and found out they were shacked up in the Tower of Joy. But Rhaegar wasn't there. Rhaegar had left the tower and he ended up being killed by Robert Baratheon at the Trident. Robert Baratheon was furious because he loved Lyanna Stark so much, and Robert thinks Rhaegar kidnapped and raped Lyanna over and over again, but that was not the case. When Rhaegar left Lyanna at the Tower of Joy, Rhaegar left men behind to guard the tower, because Rhaegar was certain that his son would be the prince that was promised, and he wanted to keep him protected. So Rhaegar had arguably the best swordsman ever, Sir Arthur Dayne, left behind to guard Lyanna and Jon at the Tower of Joy. When Ned Stark and his men arrived, they didn't even want to let Ned inside the tower, even though that was his sister in there. So that just goes to show you how serious things were taken. But as we saw in Season 6, Ned and his men killed the guards, and Ned goes inside the tower to find his sister Lyanna Stark laying in a bed soaked in blood. She had just given birth to Rhaegar's son, and she made Ned promise her that he would protect the baby because Robert would kill the baby if he ever found out it was Rhaegar's child. So Ned kept this secret for 17 years even though it brought him great shame. Ned Stark raised Jon Snow as his own son, even though Jon Snow's real parents were Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. Jon Snow spent his whole life growing up as a bastard, never knowing who his true mother was, because Ned would never talk about her because he didn't want the secret getting out and putting Jon's life in danger. But when Jon Snow left for the Wall, and Ned left to go to King's Landing, Ned promised Jon that he would tell him about his mother the next time that they would see each other. Unfortunately, Ned Stark died before he could ever reveal the truth to Jon, but thanks to Game of Thrones, they confirmed for us that his mother was in fact Lyanna Stark, because Lyanna handed Ned her baby that would grow up as Jon Snow. After this episode aired, HBO released a chart that traced Jon Snow's lineage back to Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. So as of right now, the television show has confirmed that Rhaegar plus Lyanna equals Jon Snow, which would make Jon Snow the Song of Ice and Fire. But there are still a few more things that are going to be revealed this season, and they are massive. In the very next episode, which is Season 7, Episode 5, we're going to get another huge revelation about Jon Snow's parents thanks to Sam and Gilly's discovery. The last time we saw Sam was right after he found out he was successful at curing Jorah's grayscale. Jorah Mormont was cleared to leave the Citadel, and the Archmaester told Sam he wanted to speak to him in private. He told Sam that he should be proud of what he did because many Maesters had died trying to cure grayscale. The Archmaester then gave Sam another task. He showed Sam a stack of old documents that were starting to crumble and rot away, and he asked Sam to make copies of them all before they were destroyed. It was pretty obvious that Sam was going to find something in these documents that were very important. In episode 5, Sam is going to decide it's time to leave the Citadel and head back to Winterfell. Sam must have found out Jon was victorious during the Battle of the Bastards, so he is heading to the Starks' home in Winterfell. You can see Sam and Gilly leaving Oldtown in these photos. Sam is now wearing his Night's Watch uniform again, so it's clear he's going to be heading north. You can also see Heartsbane is with him too, wrapped up in the same blanket as before. At some point in episode 5, Sam and Gilly are going to start going through the old papers and journals that he has. But it says Gilly is actually going to be the one to make this massive discovery. She is going to look through an old Maester's journal who kept meticulous records of everything. And this is where we're going to learn that Rhaegar Targaryen had his marriage to Elia Martell annulled. It's going to show that Rhaegar's first marriage was over, and he got married again to Lyanna Stark. And this would make Jon Snow a legitimate Targaryen and rightful heir to the Iron Throne. This is a huge discovery that's going to change everything. This is going to change how everyone in the North looks at him, how Daenerys looks at him, and possibly even his own family. When people learn that Jon Snow is a Targaryen and legitimate heir to the Iron Throne, this is going to be absolutely shocking. Jon was never a bastard, but he lived his entire life being treated as one. And this was foreshadowed in the very last episode. Jon Snow and Davos were talking to Missandei about his last name, and him being a bastard. Jon told Missandei his last name was Snow because his parents were never married. That conversation set up what we are going to learn in the next episode. Rhaegar was no longer married to Elia Martell, and after that marriage was annulled, Rhaegar then married Lyanna Stark, which would make their child a legitimate Targaryen. But this isn't the only thing we're going to learn about Jon this season. There will be one more massive discovery in the last episode of this season. Bran Stark will have a flashback that will reveal several things about the truth of Jon Snow. According to this leak, in the Season 7 finale, Sam Tarly and Bran Stark will find out the truth together. It says Sam and Bran are going to be in Bran's bedroom at Winterfell, and they are going to start talking about Jon Snow. Sam will tell Bran about his discovery of the marriage records with Rhaegar and Lyanna. And as Sam and Bran are talking about this, Bran will start to have multiple flashbacks at the same time. Bran will go back to the Tower of Joy, and he's going to see Lyanna whisper into Ned's ear again. But this time, Bran will hear everything that she says. Bran will hear Lyanna whisper the name Aegon Targaryen. That is going to be Jon Snow's real name. Bran will also start to have flashbacks of the wedding. Bran will see Rhaegar and Lyanna getting married in front of a tree, just like Robb Stark and Talisa did. This is all going to happen at once, very fast, and Bran will learn the full truth about Jon Snow. When Bran has the flashback of the wedding, we will hear the High Septon speak, who is marrying Rhaegar and Lyanna, and we will hear them recite their wedding vows. And it's going to be very clear that Rhaegar and Lyanna were in love with each other. This is going to confirm that Rhaegar never kidnapped and raped her, but they were in fact married and in love. This will give Jon the strongest claim to the Iron Throne. Although we all know he's never going to want to sit on the Iron Throne, but by right it could be his, putting him in front of Daenerys Targaryen's claim. This could end up causing some real problems between Jon and Daenerys. When this truth comes out, it's going to send shockwaves across the Seven Kingdoms. We saw how everyone in the north reacted when they heard a Targaryen was back in Westeros wanting the throne. How will they react when they find out their king in the north is a legitimate Targaryen? This is going to be so crazy, I can't wait to see how this plays out. I'm also wondering how Sansa, Arya, and Bran are going to start to look at Jon then. This should be very interesting, but I am dying to know what all of you think about this, especially since most of you know how accurate the leaks have been. This has to be true too. I know some people hate the fact that Jon Snow's real name might be Aegon Targaryen, but it's probably going to be true. But what do you all think about this? Put it down in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. We should find out in the next episode whether any of this is true or not. HBO already released images from episode 5 and it shows Sam and Gilly looking over a bunch of papers together. So this could be the scene where they find out about Rhaegar's marriages. They foreshadowed Jon Snow's parents' marriage in the last episode when Jon Snow told Missandei his parents were never married. In my opinion, I believe all of this will come true. Jon Snow will be Aegon Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne, and the prince that was promised. This is going to be so crazy when this is revealed. I can't wait to see everyone's reactions when it does happen. I want to thank all of you for stopping by and watching the video. I really appreciate the tremendous amount of support you all have shown, especially to everyone on Patreon as well. I love you all, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.